How many times today have you said, thought, or felt the phrase, I don't have any money? Maybe when you look at your bank account, maybe when you decline an invitation, maybe just as an automatic mental whisper, repeated so many times that it's become part of who you believe yourself to be. But what if I told you that this phrase isn't just an innocent observation of your current financial reality? What if every time you say it, you are actually making a spiritual decree, a vibrational command that crystallizes scarcity as your permanent reality? The phrase, I have no money, is not just an observation. It is a spiritual decree that crystallizes scarcity as a permanent reality. Florence Scovel, the pioneer of the power of the spoken word, taught something revolutionary over a century ago. She revealed to us that every word that leaves our mouths carries a creative vibration. Each word is a seed planted in the fertile ground of the subconscious, and when you decree absence, you send the subconscious a clear and direct order to perpetuate the absence. Can you feel the difference between observing a temporary financial fact and decreeing an identity of permanent poverty? It's like the difference between saying it's raining today and saying I am the rain. One describes a moment, the other defines who you are. Joseph Murphy revealed something equally profound. The subconscious doesn't distinguish between objective truth and emotionally repeated statements. It simply materializes what you declare with conviction and feeling. When you repeat, I have no money, with the emotional charge of frustration, fear, shame, your subconscious registers this as an instruction, and then, silently, it works to keep you aligned with that statement. Why do most people remain trapped in this hypnotic cycle of scarcity? Because the automatic language about money works like an unconscious mantra. You're literally hypnotizing yourself into remaining in lack. Think of a seed. When you say, I don't have any money, you are planting seeds of absence in the fertile garden of your creative mind. And what you sow is exactly what you will reap, not out of punishment, not out of lack of merit, but simply because this is the spiritual law of creation through words. The invitation in this video is simple, yet profoundly transformative. Discover the replacement phrase that breaks the vibrational pattern of lack, the phrase that opens the channel for the manifestation of abundance, and witness the magic that happens when you sustain this new frequency for just 15 days. Are you ready for this change? So, take a deep breath, and let's go together on this journey of reconnecting with the prosperity that has always been your divine right. There is a trap so subtle that most people don't realize they are caught in it. A trap made not of visible chains, but of repeated words, of automatic phrases, of unconscious decrees about money that you carry as absolute truth. Why I have no money works as an unconscious mantra that blocks energy from prosperity. The word mantra comes from Sanskrit. It means instrument of the mind. A mantra is a phrase repeated with the intention of transforming consciousness. But here's the truth that few realize. You're already using mantras all the time. The difference is most of them weren't consciously chosen. They were inherited, absorbed, and repeated automatically. And I don't have money has become, for many, the most powerful unconscious mantra of scarcity. Each repetition of this phrase works like an inverted prayer. You're asking the universe, your subconscious, the creative source of life, to keep you exactly where you are, in absence, in lack, in the energetic blockage of prosperity, not because you consciously desire it, but because the spoken word carries a creative force that operates beyond your superficial intention. Have you ever stopped to count how many times a day you say this phrase, even if only mentally? The fatal error, confusing temporary status with permanent financial identity, and how it sabotages your wealth frequency. Here's the mistake that keeps millions of people stuck in the vibration of scarcity. They confuse a financial moment with a permanent identity. Saying, I don't have the resources for that right now, is honest. It's neutral. It's an observation of a temporal fact that can change. But saying, I don't have money, is declaring an absence as if it were your essence, as if the lack were who you are, not just where you are. And when you define your identity by scarcity, you completely sabotage your wealth frequency. Florence Scovel taught, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. When you identify as someone who has no money, you send a clear vibrational vibrational signal to the universe, and the universe, in its perfect neutrality, responds by aligning your reality with that frequency. It's like you're a radio station. If you're tuned to the 87.5 FM frequency of scarcity, you can't pick up the abundance broadcast happening at 104.9 FM, not because abundance doesn't exist, but because you're not vibrating at its frequency. How each repetition of this phrase reinforces neural networks of scarcity and programs the subconscious to seek evidence of lack. Modern neuroscience confirms what spiritual masters have always known. Each repeated thought creates and strengthens a specific neural network in the brain. It's like a path in the forest. The more you walk it, the more defined it becomes. When you repeat, "I don't have any money," dozens, hundreds, thousands of times over months and years, you are literally carving neural highways of scarcity in your mind. And then something interesting happens. Your brain, wired for efficiency, begins to actively seek evidence that confirms this belief. You become more aware of the bills you need to pay, more aware of the high prices of things, more aware of the opportunities you can't seize due to lack of resources, not because the world has become scarcer, but because your mind has been trained to see scarcity. Joseph Murphy called this the law of subconscious belief. The subconscious doesn't question what you feed it. It simply accepts it and works to materialize it. Are you programming your subconscious for prosperity or for the perpetuation of lack? The vibrational difference between "I don't have it now" and "I don't have it," a subtle shift that transforms your energetic relationship with money. The words may sound similar, but the energy they carry is completely different. "I don't have" is final. It's permanent. It's a declaration of absolute absence. "I don't have it now" open. It's temporary. It's transitory. It's an observation of a moment that is always changing. Do you feel the vibrational difference? One keeps you trapped in the present as if it were eternal. The other acknowledges the present while keeping the door open to the future. One crystallizes scarcity as an identity. The other honors the current situation without merging with it. This subtle shift in language completely transforms your energetic relationship with money, because you stop defining yourself by lack and begin to recognize yourself as someone in movement, in transformation, in the process of manifestation. Mirror metaphor. Your words about money are the reflection that the universe returns multiplied. You are asking for scarcity without realizing it. Imagine that the universe is a perfect mirror, a mirror that doesn't judge, doesn't question, doesn't interpret. It simply reflects back with absolute precision the image you project. Your words about money are the image you are projecting into this cosmic mirror. When you say, "I don't have any money," the universe doesn't hear a cry for help. It doesn't interpret it as "please send me money." It simply reflects back, "You don't have any money." Understood. Here's more of that experience of not having any, not out of cruelty, not out of indifference, but because this is the spiritual law of correspondence. You're asking for scarcity without realizing it. You're invoking more absence with each repetition of this phrase. You're sculpting your financial reality with the words you choose to use. What if you could change the image you project in that mirror? What if there was a phrase capable of completely transforming the reflection that the universe returns to you? This phrase exists, and in the next few minutes you'll discover it. The forgotten power of the spoken word. According to Florence Scovel, over a century ago, a quiet but revolutionary woman discovered one of the most powerful secrets of manifestation. Her name was Florencescovelshinn, and what she taught about the power of the spoken word continues to transform lives to this day. Florencescovelshinn taught, "The spoken word is your magic wand. Every decree about money shapes the clay of financial reality." Florence had a poetic way of expressing profound truth. She said, "The spoken word is your magic wand." Not magic in the sense of trickery or illusion, but magic in the alchemical sense. Transformative, creative. Every decree you make about money is literally shaping the clay of your financial reality. You are the potter. Your words are your hand, and the life you live is the shape you are sculpting. Florence taught that most people wave their magic wand unconsciously. They create by accident. They manifest by carelessness, and then they wonder why life doesn't correspond to their deepest desires. But there is another way, the path of conscious speech, of intentional declaration, of decree aligned with the abundance you desire to experience. Are you using your magic wand to create prosperity, or to perpetuate scarcity, because words not only describe your financial situation, but create energetic bridges between your desire and the manifestation of prosperity. Here's a truth that can completely change your understanding of money. Your words aren't just descriptive, they're creative. They don't just report what already exists, they build energetic bridges between what you desire and its manifestation in your reality. Think of words as sound frequencies. Each word emits a specific vibration, and this vibration interacts with the quantum field of possibilities around it. When you speak about prosperity with the language of abundance, you are building a vibrational bridge between your current consciousness and the reality of wealth you desire to experience. But when you talk about money with the language of scarcity, you are building a bridge to more lack. Florence Scovel understood this profoundly. She knew that the spoken word is not a mere commentary on life. It is an act of co-creation with the divine. The principle of invocation. When you declare the absence of money, you are literally invoking more absence. Spiritual law responds to emotional tone. There is a little understood but extremely powerful spiritual principle, the principle of invocation. To invoke means to call, to summon, to bring near, and you invoke through your emotionally charged words. When you say, "I don't have any money," out of frustration, fear, shame, or despair, you are literally invoking more experiences aligned with that emotional frequency. Spiritual law doesn't just respond to the literal content of your words, it responds to the emotional tone you carry when you speak them. That's why two people can say the same sentence and get completely different results, because the energy behind the words is what truly creates the message. Florence taught, your words are charged with the power of your emotional conviction. Choose them wisely. What has been the emotional tone of your statements about money? Most people live in a passive linguistic stance towards money. They react, they comment, they complain. They observe the lack and describe it repeatedly. I don't have any money. Everything is so expensive. There's never anything left. I can't afford that. This is the language of reaction, of powerlessness, of someone who sees themselves as a victim of financial circumstances. But there is another way to use language, the active form, creative, directional. When you shift your financial language into active mode, you stop reacting to lack and start directing the creation of abundance. Instead of, "I have no money," you declare, "Money is flowing to me now." Instead of, "Everything is so expensive," you say, "I always find ways to get what I need." Instead of, "There is never anything left over," you decree, "Abundance multiplies in my life." Do you feel the shift in power? From victim to creator, from passive to active. Florence Scovel practiced something she called word watching. It's a simple technique, but it requires conscious attention. It consists of observing your words as if you were a guardian of your own mouth, perceiving the automatic decrees of scarcity the moment they arise, and interrupting them before they take root in your consciousness. It works like this. You're about to say, "I don't have any money," but before the sentence can even come out, you catch yourself. You pause, you breathe, and consciously choose a different phrase. At first you'll catch the phrase after it's already out. That's okay. Just observe it. Don't judge yourself. And mentally cancel it out, replacing it with an affirmation of abundance. Over time, you'll notice the phrase before it comes out, and then you'll have the power to consciously choose what to plant in the garden of your mind. This verbal vigilance is an act of self-love. It's you deciding to protect your consciousness from the pollution of scarcity language. It's you recognizing that your words have power and that you deserve to use that power to your advantage. And now we come to the heart of this video, the phrase that can change everything, the phrase that replaces the decree of scarcity with a decree of openness, which transforms the frequency of absence into a frequency of reception. Here's the revelation. Instead of, "I don't have any money," state clearly and gently, "The money is on its way to me now." Just repeat it mentally. Feel the words. Notice the difference. The money is on its way to me now. The energetic shift is immediate. Can you feel it? Instead of closing in on absence, you're opening to movement. Instead of crystallizing lack, you're acknowledging flow. Instead of declaring an identity of poverty, you're affirming a process of receiving. This simple phrase does something profound. It honors where you are without trapping you there. It recognizes that manifestation is a temporal process, and it activates within you the frequency of creative expectation. Let me explain why this phrase has so much power. First, it honors the present without crystallizing it. You're not denying that you may not have the money you need right now. You're not forcing a false reality. You're simply acknowledging that this moment is temporary, that life is always in flux, that what is now doesn't define what will come. Second, it keeps the energetic door open. When you say, I don't have, you close the door. You lock out the possibility. You declare a conclusion. But when you say, it's on its way, you keep the door open. You remain receptive. You position yourself as someone who is ready to receive. Third, it activates creative expectation. Neville Goddard taught that expectation is one of the most powerful forces in manifestation. When you expect something with calm and certainty, you naturally align your energy with receiving it. Money is on the way is not wishful thinking. It is a declaration of faith in the spiritual law of infinite supply. Here's an important secret. You don't need to force fake enthusiasm when saying this phrase. You don't have to fake a joy you don't feel. You don't have to shout the affirmation as if you were trying to convince yourself of something impossible. The key is conscious emotional neutrality. Say the sentence with the same calm neutrality with which you would say, the sun will rise tomorrow. It's not doubt. It's not exaggerated excitement. It's simply an observation of a natural process. The money is on its way, like an order you place, like a changing season, like a cycle coming to an end. When you replace the decree of absence with a decree of movement and flow without emotional tension, you allow the energy to naturally reorganize around you, forcing block, confident neutrality open. Financial anxiety comes largely from the belief that you are permanently stuck in scarcity. When you believe that, I have no money is a final sentence, anxiety sets in, despair grows, your mind panics, but when you recognize that manifestation is a temporal process, anxiety begins to dissolve. Money is on the way reminds you that you're not abandoned by the universe, that the supply hasn't dried up, that you're simply at a specific point in a larger cycle. This doesn't mean you don't take practical action. It means you take those actions without the burden of desperation. You move with clarity instead of fear. Florence Scovel said, when you let go of despair, you make room for divine demonstration. Can you feel how this phrase can lighten the weight you've been carrying? Think about how you behave when you make an online purchase. You choose the product, make the payment, receive confirmation, and then you just know the package is on its way. You don't obsessively repeat, I don't have my package. You don't panic because it hasn't arrived in 2 hours. You don't question whether it will actually arrive. You have a calm expectation. You trust the process. You know there's a delay between ordering and delivery, and you're at peace with that. Now, apply that same awareness to money. When you declare, money is on its way to me now, you are making a vibrational request to the universe. You're placing your order in the quantum field of possibilities. And then you can simply trust, not passively, but with the calm certainty of knowing that what was requested is being prepared to arrive. You don't need to obsessively check. You don't need to panic during delivery time. You just know. And you continue living, acting, moving with the awareness that supply is flowing towards you. Now you may be wondering, what actually happens when I start practicing this change? What is the reprogramming process like? What to expect in the first few days? Let's walk together through the first 15 days of this transformation. In the first 5 days, something interesting will happen. Your brain will find the new language strange. You'll say, the money is on its way to me now, and an inner voice may immediately respond, but that's not true. You don't have the money. This is completely normal, expected, even healthy. It's your nervous system trying to keep you in the comfort zone of the old pattern, because even though the old pattern is painful, it's familiar, and the brain prefers the familiar to the unfamiliar. This is when most people give up. They interpret this internal resistance as proof that the practice isn't working, but in fact, this resistance is proof that neural reprogramming is beginning. How to persist in these first days? Be kind to yourself. Don't fight the voice of doubt. Just acknowledge it, thank it for trying to protect you, and then gently return to the new phrase. The money is on its way to me now. Each time you consciously return to the new phrase after resistance, you are strengthening the new neural network. Between the 6th and 10th, something subtle but powerful begins to happen. Your vibrational frequency begins to adjust. It's like you're slowly switching channels. The static of scarcity begins to fade, and you begin to pick up on signs of abundance that were always there, but you couldn't see them. You might notice a job opportunity that unexpectedly presents itself, a significant discount on something you needed, a creative idea for how to generate income, a casual conversation that opens a financial door. These things aren't external magic. They're the result of your mind reprogramming itself to see through the lens of possibility rather than limitation. Joseph Murphy called this the wisdom of the subconscious unfolding. When you change your inner program, the outer world begins to reflect that change. At this stage, it's important to remain attentive. Notice the small synchronicities, recognize the opportunities that arise, and be grateful for every sign that change is happening. On the 11th to the 15th, synchronicity comes into play more clearly. Small signs of abundance begin to appear. It could be unexpected money, a debt that's forgiven, a bonus you weren't expecting, someone offering you something of value, an expense that's reduced or cancelled. These signs are important not necessarily for their material value, but for what they represent energetically. They are confirmation that the universe is responding to your new frequency, that the door to abundance is opening, that the flow is being restored. Florence Scovel said, "The universe always sends signs before the big demonstration. Notice them, acknowledge them, be grateful for them." When you receive these small signals with sincere gratitude, you amplify the frequency of reception. You say to the universe, "Yes, I am ready to receive more. I acknowledge your provision. I trust your supply." And then the flow intensifies. You may be wondering, why specifically 15 days? It's not a magic or mystical number. It's simply the minimum amount of time that research on mental reprogramming and practical experience indicates is necessary for the subconscious to begin accepting a new vibrational pattern without critical resistance. In the early days, the subconscious is alert, questioning, and resisting. It's like a gatekeeper who doesn't recognize the new information and tries to reject it. But when you persist consistently for about 2 weeks, something changes. The guardian begins to relax. The new information becomes recognized as safe, and resistance decreases significantly. This doesn't mean that after 15 days the transformation is complete. It means you've passed the most critical phase of initial resistance. From then on, the practice becomes more fluid, more natural, less strenuous. 15 days is your minimum commitment to change. It's the period in which you say, "I will honor this process. I will give the seed time to germinate." Let me share with you the story of Mary. Maria was 52 years old. She had worked at the same job for 15 years, and for months she had been repeating to herself every day, "I have no money. I can't pay my bills. There will never be any left." Her financial situation was tight, but not desperate. The real problem was in her mind. She had completely identified with scarcity. One day, Maria watched a video about the power of the spoken word, and something clicked inside her. She decided to do an experiment. For 15 days, every time the thought, "I don't have any money," arose, she would consciously replace it with, "The money is on its way to me now." The first few days were difficult. She caught herself saying the old phrase dozens of times, but whenever she realized it, she'd pause and repeat the new phrase. On the 6th day, something interesting happened. A co-worker casually mentioned an opening in another department that Maria hadn't even known existed. On the 10th day, Maria received a refund for a duplicate payment she had made months ago and no longer remembered. On the 14th day, her boss called her in for a chat. Maria later confessed that her heart was racing, afraid of bad news, but what she received was an unexpected raise. Her boss said he'd noticed her change in energy in recent weeks and that she seemed more confident and proactive. Mary hadn't changed anything externally. She just changed her internal decree about money. Mary's story is no exception. This is what happens when you stop decreeing scarcity and start aligning your word with the abundance you desire to experience. Now that you know the phrase and understand the process, I need to warn you about the most common mistakes that can completely sabotage your practice, because it's not enough to just know the phrase. You have to use it consciously. The first and most common mistake is saying the phrase with emotional disbelief. You say the words, "The money is on its way to me now," but inside you're thinking, "This is bullshit. It won't work. I don't believe it." And then the vibration of doubt completely cancels out the declaration of prosperity. Remember, it's not just the words that create, it's the emotional energy you put into them. If you say the phrase like a robot, mechanically, without any feeling, it will have no creative power. If you say it with sarcasm or skepticism, you are actually reinforcing scarcity through the emotion of doubt. How to avoid this error? You don't have to force instant faith. You don't have to believe 100% from day one, but you do need to at least be open, willing, curious to see what happens. Say the phrase with the energy of, I am willing to believe this, or I choose to experience this, or simply with calm neutrality. True belief comes with practice and the signs you begin to receive, but the door needs to be at least ajar from the start. The second mistake is expecting the world to magically change without you changing internally. Some people start using the phrase and look outside, hoping money will appear out of nowhere as if by external magic. But the truth is more subtle and more powerful. Transformation begins with you, not with the world. When you shift your internal frequency, your perception changes, your choices change, your actions change, your energy changes, and then, naturally, the world around you begins to reflect this new frequency. Catherine Ponder, one of the great teachers of prosperity, taught, you don't attract prosperity, you become prosperous internally, and then external prosperity is just the natural reflection of that. The phrase isn't a magic formula that makes money fall from the sky. It's a reprogramming tool that transforms you into a person who vibrates at the frequency of abundance. And when you vibrate at the frequency of abundance, opportunities, resources, and solutions appear naturally. The third fatal mistake is to abandon the practice in the first few days because nothing has happened yet. This happens all the time. Someone practices for 3, 4, 5 days. They don't see any dramatic external changes, and they conclude, this doesn't work. I knew it, but here's what they don't understand. The demonstration works behind the scenes long before it visibly materializes. It's like planting a seed. You plant it, you water it, and for the first few days you don't see anything above ground. It would be insane to look at the ground on the third day and say, it didn't work. That seed is no good, because you know that beneath the surface the seed is germinating, roots are forming. The process is happening, even if invisible. The same goes for mental and vibrational reprogramming. In the early days, change is happening on subtle levels. Your neural networks are reorganizing. Your frequency is adjusting. The energy field around you is responding, but this takes time to manifest in visible form. Wallace Wattles, author of The Science of Getting Rich, said, thinking substance is always creating forms along lines of growth, and growth always comes from within outward. Trust the invisible process. Persist through the germination phase, and then you'll see the sprout appear. The fourth mistake is using the phrase sporadically, only when you remember. 1 day you practice, 2 days you forget, 1 day you practice again, 3 days you forget. This inconsistency does not allow reprogramming to take hold. It's like trying to learn a musical instrument by practicing randomly without regularity. You don't develop muscle memory. You don't create the habit. You don't progress. For the practice to be effective, you need to create a daily ritual of verbal reconnection with abundance. It doesn't have to be long. 3 minutes in the morning is enough, but it needs to be consistent. Choose a specific time of day, preferably right after waking up, when your subconscious is most receptive, and make that moment your sacred ritual of aligning with prosperity. The more you ritualize the practice, the more it becomes a natural part of you, and the less conscious effort you need to make to sustain it. And here is the antidote to all these mistakes. Commit to a simple 3-minute practice in the morning, just 3 minutes. You have that time. Everyone has it. When you wake up, before you pick up your phone, before you dive into the day's worry, sit down, breathe conscious, and repeat the phrase with a feeling of openness. The money is on its way to me now. Breathe. The money is on its way to me now. Breathe. Don't force it. Don't strain it. Just allow the words to resonate within you. Feel the openness. Feel the possibility. Feel the connection to the divine flow of supply. 3 minutes every day for 15 days. This is your commitment. This is your portal to transformation. Once you have established the fundamental practice with the main phrase, you can begin to expand your repertoire of prosperity decrees. Here are some other powerful phrases you can incorporate into your journey of reconnecting with abundance. I am an open channel for the endless flow of prosperity. When you say it, you are making 3 simultaneous statements. First, you're affirming your nature as a channel. You're not the source of prosperity. You're the channel through which it flows. This takes the pressure off you to create abundance out of thin air. You simply allow it to flow through you. Second, you are declaring yourself open, not blocked, not resistant, not closed off by fear or belief of unworthiness. Open, receptive, available. Third, you are recognizing the flow as infinite, not limited, not scarce, not finite, infinite, always available, always renewable. This phrase expands your awareness of worthiness because it reminds you that prosperity isn't something you need to earn or deserve through strenuous effort. It's something that naturally flows when you open yourself to receive. Many people carry a deeply ingrained belief that making money has to be difficult, that you need to suffer to prosper, that you need to fight, sacrifice, exhaust yourself. This belief creates enormous energetic resistance to abundance. When you decree, money finds me easily and happily, you are dissolving that limiting belief. You're saying that prosperity can be light, it can be joyful, it can flow easily. You are giving yourself permission to thrive without sacrificing your peace, your health, your joy of life. Florence Scovel said, God doesn't want you to suffer for abundance. He wants you to rejoice in receiving it. Are you ready to let money come to you with ease and joy? One of the biggest pitfalls of manifestation is trying to control exactly how what you want will manifest. You get stuck in the idea that money needs to come from a specific source, in a specific way, at a specific time. And when it doesn't happen exactly as you planned, you get frustrated and conclude that it didn't work. But the universe is infinitely more creative than your linear mind. When you decree, I allow myself to receive abundance in unexpected ways, you release mental control over the how. You are saying, I don't know where it will come from. I don't know how it will happen, but I trust that divine intelligence knows the best way, and I am open to receive in whatever way is best for me. Neville Goddard taught, do not limit divine provision by your narrow expectations of how it should manifest itself. My good comes to me now in strange and wonderful ways. The word strange here doesn't mean bizarre, it means unexpected, surprising, beyond common logic. And marvelous captures the essence of wonder, of grace, of something that leaves you in awe. This phrase opens space for divine creativity to operate in your life. It takes you out of the autopilot mode of expecting everything to happen in predictable, mundane ways. It opens you to the everyday miracles of synchronicity. When you use this phrase, you may be surprised at the completely unexpected ways in which money, opportunities, and resources come to you. A casual conversation that opens a door, a chance encounter that changes everything, an idea that comes out of nowhere, an unexpected gift, a solution that appears from the most unlikely place. This is divine creativity in action. In addition to these powerful phrases I've shared, you can also create your own personalized decrees. How to do this? First, identify your specific financial pain. What limiting belief holds you back the most? What financial fear paralyzes you the most? It might be, I'll never have enough, or money is always a problem, or I'm not good with money. Then identify your authentic desire for abundance, not what you think you should want, but what your heart truly desires. It might be, I want to feel financially secure, or I want to have the freedom to choose, or I want to be able to help the ones I love. Now create a decree that honors where you are and points to where you want to go. For example, if your pain is I will never have enough, your decree might be abundance surrounds me on all sides and I always have more than I need. If your pain is money is always a problem, your decree might be money flows to me easily and I receive it with gratitude. If your pain is I'm not good with money, your decree might be I am learning to be an excellent steward of my abundance. A personalized decree is more powerful because it stems from your specific truth. It speaks directly to your wound and offers the exact balm you need. What decree is your heart asking you to create? Now let's structure exactly how you will integrate this practice into your daily life. A simple yet powerful 3-minute ritual that will sustain your new prosperity frequency. The first step happens the moment you wake up, before picking up your phone, before checking messages, before diving into the worries of the day, in that sacred moment between sleep and full wakefulness, when your subconscious is still most receptive and least critical. Take a deep breath, feel your body, and declare, out loud or whispered, the money is on its way to me now. If you live alone, say it out loud. The sound vibration amplifies the power of the statement. If you live with other people and feel uncomfortable speaking loudly, whisper. The important thing is that you use your voice, not just your thought. The spoken word has a power that the thought word does not. because when you speak, you are engaging your physical body in the act of creation. You are anchoring intention into matter. Repeat the phrase 3 times, breathing consciously between each repetition. The money is on its way to me now. The money is on its way to me now. The money is on its way to me now. After saying the phrase 3 times, gently close your eyes and visualize a golden wave of luminous energy descending from above, entering through the crown of your head. See this golden light slowly spreading throughout your body, filling your head, neck, chest, arms, torso, leg, all the way to your toes. This golden light represents the vibration of abundance, the frequency of divine prosperity, the infinite flow of supply. Feel your body filling with this energy. Feel every cell responding to it. Feel yourself becoming one with the frequency of wealth. Don't force complex images. Keep it simple, just the feeling of being filled with golden light and the vibration of abundance. 30 seconds, that's all you need. Joseph Murphy taught that visualization combined with feeling imprints on the subconscious the reality you wish to manifest. You'll notice that the automatic thought, I don't have any money, will still arise, probably many times in the first few days. This is normal. It's the old pattern trying to maintain itself. But now you have a tool. Whenever you notice this thought arising, pause. Don't judge yourself. Don't criticize yourself. Just pause. Breathe consciously, a deep breath, and then consciously replace it with the new phrase. The money is on its way to me now. It can be mentally, it can be whispered, it can be spoken out loud if you're alone. The important thing is the conscious replacement. Each time you do this, you're disrupting the old neural circuitry and strengthening the new one. You're reprogramming your mind in real time. Over time, the substitution becomes automatic, and eventually, the old phrase stops appearing because the new pattern has taken hold. The 4th step happens before bed. It's time to close the day's cycle with gratitude. Before you close your eyes to sleep, think of 3 small manifestations of abundance you experienced during the day. And here's the secret. Abundance isn't just about money. It could be a genuine smile someone gave you, a coffee a friend offered, a song that lifted your mood, a warm hug, a word of encouragement, a beautiful sunset that brought you peace. All of this is abundance. All of this is the universe saying, I take care of you, I provide for you. Yet, when you recognize and give thanks for these small manifestations, you are training your mind to see abundance instead of scarcity. And the more you see abundance, the more abundance manifests. Florence Scovel said, gratitude is the most powerful magnet for manifestation. Be grateful for the little and the much will come. Say mentally or out loud, thank you for first manifestation, gratitude for second manifestation, gratitude for third manifestation, and then fall asleep in that frequency of gratitude and abundance. Why is this 3-minute ritual so effective? Because it creates neural markers of financial openness at the 2 most important moments of your daily cycle, the beginning and the end. When you wake up, your brain is shifting from the theta state, sleep, to the alpha state, relaxed wakefulness. At this point, your subconscious is more receptive to new programming. By doing your morning ritual, you are literally imprinting the frequency of abundance into your subconscious before your critical, rational mind takes over your day. When you go to sleep, your brain is doing the opposite, going from beta, active wakefulness, to alpha, and then to theta. By performing your nightly gratitude ritual, you're sending your subconscious the day's final message. And this message is processed during sleep, when the subconscious does the deep work of integration and reorganization. These 2 moments, waking up and falling asleep, are sacred windows to access the subconscious. When you ritualize the practice in these moments, you are gradually, gently, but consistently reprogramming the pattern of scarcity. 3 minutes in the morning, mindful awareness throughout the day. 3 minutes before bed. This is your financial transformation ritual through the power of the spoken word. We have reached the end of this journey, but actually, this is not an end. It's a beginning. The beginning of your new relationship with money, with abundance, with the power of your own word. Florence Scovel, Shin left us a precious reminder that resonates through the ages. She said, You are writing your story with every word spoken. Think about it for a moment. Your financial life right now is the cumulative result of thousands of words you've spoken about money, thousands of decrees, conscious or unconscious, that have shaped your reality. If your financial history up until now has been one of struggle, scarcity, and stagnation, it's not because you're cursed. It's not because the universe has forgotten you. It's not because you don't deserve it. It's simply because you were using scarcity words to write your narrative. But here's the good news, the liberating news, the truth that can change everything. Your financial narrative can be rewritten today, now, in this moment, with a new word, a new decree, a new conscious choice. The power of this practice does not lie in any external magic. It's not about supernatural forces that will rain money on you while you sleep. True power lies in the internal transformation of your relationship with money and worth. Neville Goddard, another great master of manifestation, taught us something profound. He said, "A change in consciousness is a change in destiny." When you change your money decree, you're changing your consciousness. And when you change your consciousness, you inevitably change your prosperity trajectory, not magically and instantly, but naturally and organically. You begin to see opportunities that were previously invisible. You begin to make decisions aligned with abundance rather than scarcity. You begin to act with the confidence of someone who knows they are supported by the universe. And then external reality begins to reflect this internal change. It's important for you to understand. These 15 days are not a magic formula for instant wealth. They are not a promise that you will win the lottery or receive an unexpected inheritance. These 15 days are a portal of reconnection with the frequency of abundance that has always been available to you, but from which you were disconnected by the language of scarcity. It's a sincere spiritual experiment, a commitment to yourself, a choice to honor the power of your word and use that power consciously to create a more prosperous life. And the real magic happens when you finally realize something that has always been true. You have never been separated from prosperity. You have never been abandoned by divine abundance. You were never unworthy of the universe's infinite supply. You were simply disconnected by language, by beliefs, by the automatic decrees of scarcity you inherited and repeated without question. But now you know. Now you have the tool. Now you can choose. So here is my final invitation to you. Commit to these 15 days as a sincere spiritual experiment. Not because I'm asking you to, not because you need to prove something to anyone, but because you deserve to experience what happens when you align your word with abundance. Notice the subtle changes, the small signs, the synchronicities, the doors that open, the opportunities that arise, the lightness you begin to feel around money, and trust in the natural unfolding of abundance. Trust that when you plant seeds of prosperity through your words, the harvest is inevitable. It may not happen exactly as you imagined. It may not come from the source you expected, but it will come, because this is the spiritual law. This is the promise of the spoken word. This is the alchemy of consciousness transforming matter. The phrase you choose to repeat today is shaping the financial reality you will live tomorrow. Choose consciously, speak with intention, receive with gratitude, and remember, the money is on its way to you now. You just have to be open to receive it.